Once again, today is January the 16th, 2025. Once again, it's January the 16th, 2025. And the previous video, the preceding video recorded, essentially what I said was that I'm not too sure why the muffling, defect of the YouTube upload. I'm not too sure why sometimes when I upload video recordings, it's muffled and sometimes it goes in and goes out. Some of the audio, the bass of the audio, it goes in and out. But I'm not too sure why the audio had me sound as if I said unconfirmable when I said unconfrontable. I said unconfrontable. I said the North American Commonwealth will be the economic power of the Union of the Americas, preceding and succeeding the establishment of the Union of the Americas, and that this is actually unconfrontable, not unconfirmable, but unconfrontable. And I also said that it is clear as day that no country in South America or elsewhere, for the most part, no nation state in the hemisphere, and speaking of the Western Hemisphere, no nation state whatsoever will be able to match or surpass the economic power, the economy of the United States, meaning the economic might of the United States, not economic mark. Even though economic mark does also make sense, I meant economic might, and I'm pretty sure that's what I said, but the muffling did have something to do with it. So I listened to the video recording over and over again. It was almost 8 minutes long, and it sounded as if I said economic mark instead of economic might, but it's clear as day that I intended to say economic might, and that's what I literally said, but the muffling did have a sort of negative effect. And yes, once again, I said unconfrontable, not unconfirmable. So of course, not the North American Commonwealth is going to be the economic power of the Union of the Americas into the foreseeable future. But when it comes to political astuteness, the Caribbean community is going to lead per contracting with the United States government and Canada for security purposes and to be able to stay in power as the lead proponent of social democracy. And speaking of the United States, in not being able to confirm that it is a social democracy and that it created the philosophy of social democracy. Once again, the United States is a social democracy, and it created the philosophy of social democracy. It really did. All right. So liberalism, progressive liberalism. How do you guys want to say it? What is popularly known of the United States? That's what the Caribbean community, as a sector of the Union of the Americas, the Caribbean community will serve as a proponent of social democracy, specifically the variant of democracy promoted, created, and refined by the United States government. And also, even though the Union of the Americas will be the successor to the Economic Area of the Americas, the Economic Area of the Americas will not be dissolved. It'll be completely consumed beyond just singular systematization. It's going to be completely consumed by the Union of the Americas. So once again, the Economic Area of the Americas will be completely consumed by the Union of the Americas. The Economic Area of the Americas, the EAA, will not dissolve after it's created. It'll become completely integrated with the Organization of American States into the political and economic union of the Americas. That's what I meant by that. But what I was trying to explain to some of you guys, per some of the questions I've received in the past, is that the Union of the Americas will be established succeeding, meaning after the establishment of the Economic Area of the Americas in 2026. The Economic Area of the Americas will be established in 2026, and the Economic Union of the Americas will be established in 2040, and the Political Union of the Americas will be established in 2049. So therefore, the Union of the Americas will be established in 2040, not 2049, 2040. Okay, these have been negotiated, and this is the plan. You know, the collective items I have just detailed is the plan, you know? So the collective of items I have detailed, is the plan. The collective of items I have detailed is the plan, you know? And speaking of the Economic Area of the Americas, and speaking of the General Assembly of the Americas, and speaking of the Tribunal of the Americas, and speaking of the refinement of the Organization of the Americas, its totality, and speaking of the Economic Area of the Americas, its totality, and everything else that comes with it. What I've detailed earlier in this video recording and what I have written on and spoken on earlier, proceeding today on this respective matter, on this specific matter. Okay, guys? So I want you guys to understand that. I want you guys to understand all of this. This is not some sort of remedial course. This is what I have communicated to you guys. What I have authored and published is of the highest degree of complexity, highest degree of complicated philosophy. And it's not intended as complicated for superficial reasons. It requires that sort of rigidity. I haven't communicated anything that's subpar, anything that's mediocre, anything that's average. What I have communicated to you guys is as good as it gets. It's the best. I'm pretty sure of it. All right, guys?